1913, you could have used, let's see, you could have used a silver dollar, you could have used a US dollar, or you could have used a $1 gold coin. Can you see the difference in the size? And you could have bought 11 loaves of bread with any three of them. Today, you're lucky to get a quarter of a loaf of bread with that dollar bill. You could still buy, I could be off a little bit, but you could still buy 11 loaves with this silver dollar. And the last time I checked, I could buy 135 loaves of bread with this 20th of an ounce of $1 gold coin. So, I mean, it's easy to see that was the beginning of the life cycle, and the dollar buying a quarter of a loaf. We're going to get to a point where you can't buy a loaf of bread with a dollar bill. Look at Venezuela. Look at so many countries that they need wheelbarrows. And it's hard for people to really comprehend that, because if they can keep the inflation at 2%, they get what they want, but you don't complain, you don't ask for more money. These are all the same playbook. And if you read some of the IMF reports, especially my favorite one, still goes back to 2015, breaking below the lower zero bound. In other words, how do you take interest rates below zero? And what they say in there is, we know how to do this. You keep things appearing as similar as possible to the current system. And then people don't notice. And we've had IMF Carstens came out and said, well, if you use the CBDC and you go to the grocery store, it's all going to seem the same, because they've gotten us used to using credit cards and debit cards, right? They've gotten us since 2009. They've gotten us used to seeing and hearing and all of this about the digital currencies, the cryptocurrencies. So this seems normal, and so people buy into it, especially when they let them rise as they're suppressing the real value, not the real value. They can't suppress that. But the market value of gold and silver through those spot contracts, which it's easy to create as much gold and silver as you want. That does not nor ever will exist. Everything has a life cycle. I guarantee you, I'm at a different point in my life cycle at 69 now. But my granddaughter is 8. She is clearly at a different point in her life cycle than I am, right? And that's the thing. If we can all learn to understand the patterns of an aging currency, then it's easy to know where we are in that cycle. Additionally, so that's the overall picture. So I'm in safety, and this is safety. This is the only safe haven asset that has been proven over centuries and even longer. I mean, thousands and thousands of years. It does not need a government to say it has value. The world has known that it has value. And we do need food, water, energy security, barterability, wealth preservation, community, and shelter in order to sustain a reasonable standard of living and therefore retain your choices. Silver is actually means liberty, and gold means love. Liberty and love, what else do we need? And if you are not properly diversified, your portfolio, 1 trillion times 0 is 0. Some people can't get it out. Like in the pension schemes, some of the 401ks, you really can't get that money out. So you have to have the right amount of this to properly diversify. And if your stock or bond portfolio goes to 0, this is going up, right? This is proper diversification and your wealth shield, which is made of physical metals in your possession, because then they become invisible and they actually do protect you. I think, and I hope, we have a peaceful but absolute revolution, And the way that we do that is by coming together in community, supporting each other to be as independent and self-sufficient as possible so that we can retain our choices. Fiscally, well, where do you get that? You get that with silver. Yep, exactly. And gold. That's where you get that. And the reason is really simple, is that both gold and silver are used in every sector of the global economy. So there's always broad-based demand. When you're looking at cryptocurrencies, they're used for trading. When they are intangible and in the system. Because when things collapse, who are you going to call? What we're experiencing is a global de-dollarization. And the nations that are part of the BRICS, particularly the new nation, Saudi Arabia, that's coming in, is really the reason why in the early 70s, 80s, that the US dollar retained its status as the world reserve currency. And so alliances, global alliances, are most definitely shifting. As far as having a gold-backed currency, it was the Russian embassy in an African nation, I don't remember which one at the moment, but that came out and said that possibility. I think that foretells what is going to happen in the future after all confidence in the currency and the system is lost. Then yes, absolutely. In order to get the public to use the currency again, they always put a component of gold in there. But could they do it at this past summit? No, because they have to get rid of all the debt that they've accumulated. Once you put a component of gold in a currency, then it limits your ability to stimulate, which simply means to create a lot more debt. And ultimately, all that debt has to be repaid. And so what I encourage everybody to do everywhere in the world is to create that community around you. Go to the local farmers, to those that, that have cows that give you milk, grow food, and create those relationships and those communities now. Because if you don't, and you keep all your wealth in this system that is designed to transfer your wealth away from you, you will have no choice when they install this full surveillance CBDC. You will have no choice. So I'm about retaining choices. It's like so critically important that we come together on a global basis and community. I can't even tell you.